Something I failed to realize when I first started following Christ, and I think it's a mistake a lot of young men make, is failing to understand that there's not a lack of good Christian women, there's a lack of women that are outspoken about their faith. And because of that, they are harder to find. About 2 or 3 years ago, right after I got saved, I met this really beautiful girl, right? And so we've been talking and texting for a few weeks. We went on a date or two. Although I was kind of broke at the time, so it really wasn't dates. It was more just like hanging out for ice cream. I guess that's a date. You could count as a date. And so she wanted me to meet her parents. So I drove over to her house. I pull up on the curb right outside of her house, and I'm nervous, like to the point where it's for situations like this that I put an extra stick of deodorant inside my car, because like in situations like this where I get nervous, my pits get to sweating. But anyways, I just want you to feel like I was actually nervous, like legit. And I texted her and I told her that I was there, and she just told me to come up to the front door. But for a few minutes, I just sat there, like trying to almost, I guess, lock in a sense, you know, like where you're just so nervous. You're like, dude, I got to figure out how to act like a human in this situation. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And so I go in, I meet her mom, it goes completely cool. We go back to her bedroom. I think we were going to watch a movie or something. And so we walk all the way down the hallway. We turn into like the back right door. And it's when I actually learned something about her that I didn't even know leading up to this at all. And it was probably in part that because I was so new in my walk with Christ and my faith that I didn't even think to ask about it. But when we walked into her room, all around her walls, especially above her bed, were like these pieces of paper that had been pinned to the wall, if you know what I'm talking about, full of Bible verses and quotes and stuff that she had highlighted and pasted and printed out and put up on the walls. And I mean, like, it was covered. There was every bit of 20 to 30 on the wall. Even when I looked at her Bible, it was all tabbed up and it had more highlights than mine did. And it turned out like she was like pretty devoutly Christian, and I didn't even know it. And once I actually realized it, it really did teach me something. I think women are almost frowned upon for following God or wanting to pursue Christ more than men are. Because I know we always talk about the war on masculinity and stuff like that on the self-improvement area of the internet, and I think a lot of that is true. Actually, I think all of it is true. But regardless, I think we overlook that there really is a lack of female role models for young women that would even encourage them to go down that route anyways. I mean, there's no celebrity that does that. There's no musician that does that. In fact, they do the complete opposite, right? Like there's demonic ones like Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift and all that. They're all recommended to do the hoe stuff. The music recommends that. Their friends all do that. Their hoe friends hype them up if they go do some hoe stuff. I mean, even the feminist movement, like the whole idea, one of the ideas behind it is the idea that somehow you're more empowered if you're more slutty. Like it's wild to really think about, but there's really nothing. If they don't have like a good mother figure or something like that, how would they really even have someone to look up to that's a role model to follow God? And I'm telling you, like, just the longer I've met more Christian women, and like you just have friends that are Christian, I think a lot of women get even more hate for it than men. Every now and then I'll scroll reels on Instagram and you'll see some women that are talking about how they want to like cook for their man or something like that, right? Like, I guess something that a lot of people would consider like traditional. And every now and then you'll open up that comment section, it'll have 15, 20,000 comments, and it's full of women saying that they've been programmed or enslaved, or what is this, like 300 years ago? Like, just people getting pissed about it, right? Like, in general, I think it's more frowned upon for women than it is men, which makes sense then why less women are outspoken about their faith. And I've told this to people before, beyond the way someone dresses, like beyond the way a woman dresses, without you getting to know her, there's nothing you can tell about her until you talk to her. Like, does that make sense? Like, if you just see a woman on the street, beyond the way she dresses, you couldn't really tell me anything about her. Like, if you just see a woman walking down the street, how can you tell that she's Christian, right? I heard Pastor Mark Driscoll say this one time, and I think it's so true. The two most important decisions you are going to make in your life is, number one, to follow God, and number two, who are you going to spend your life with? Who's going to be your partner? And this is the thing that I normally say that makes some Christian people mad. Believe it or not, God is not going to just drop a woman into your life. You cannot just stay at home all day, scroll, maybe go to the gym, and then one day this like perfect woman that you've been waiting for years is just going to spawn in. That is not how it works. In order to actually meet godly women, you're going to have to just approach women and talk to women and make conversation with women. And for some reason, a lot of dudes just take that in like a degenerate way. Like, by you approaching women, you're somehow now like the red pill guys on the podcast, right? That talk about running up your body count. You're nothing like that. Maybe in part it's because purity culture's kind of made it that way. Like, we've been programmed so much to learn to avoid lust, which definitely isn't a bad thing, not what I'm saying at all. But like, we've been programmed so much to avoid that like the dynamics between men and women and flirting or dating or any of these things have really gotten weird between young Christian people. Also, I just think we're the least social generation in history. Like, we're so attached to our phones. I noticed this the other other day, I think about it. I talk to my dad about it a lot whenever we're driving. You can go through a neighborhood, you'll rarely ever see kids outside playing anymore. Like, it's just like we're so disconnected from each other, but connected to each other on the internet. Like, it's made everyone antisocial. But anyways, if you want to meet some good Christian women, this is very practical advice. Go out and just start approaching people that you find attractive whenever you're out and about, right? And I don't mean intentionally go out like, oh, let's go to the mall and approach women. Like, I think that's a little weird. Like, don't do that. But if you're out and about, right, and you just have this life, and maybe you go out with your friends, or you're out with family, or you're out by yourself, whatever, and you just see a woman, you're like, wow, she's pretty. Go up and say something. Like, I can't believe this is controversial advice, and I can't believe I even have to say it. It's like so basic. Actually go up and talk to women. That's the only way you're gonna meet Christian women. There's a lot of young dudes out here that think a woman is just gonna come up and approach them, or they think they're gonna meet a woman who's just gonna be like, hey, how much do you know about church theology, right? And they just think they're gonna hit it off. It doesn't work like that. The Bible says, I believe it's in Matthew 7, I think, but you will know them by their fruits, right? Fruits are not just knowledge. I think a lot of people look at it like it's just knowledge. Oh, how much do you know about the Bible? How much do you know about church? All of these types of things. When in reality, it is a relationship, and you should be looking for the fruits, and the fruits are kindness. Find a woman who's kind. Find a woman who's patient. Find a woman who's nice to other people, who's caring, who's compassionate. Those are fruits of the Spirit. But the only way you're going to discover that stuff about a woman that you meet is if you actually, one, go up and talk to her, but two, start to have conversations, start to go on dates, start to talk more. That's the only way you're going to discover who someone actually is. And if you're really serious about Christ-focused self-improvement, you really do think like, yeah, finding a godly woman is something that would be incredibly crucial in my life, which, by the way, I 100% agree. Like, yes, I think you should look at least some aspect of your dating life as part of your Christ-focused self-improvement journey. You should look at it like a priority, right? It's the second most important decision you're ever going to make in your life. Oh, but there's no Christian women around me. Like, I hear that all the time. There's no Christian women around here. If you haven't approached 100 women, how would you even know that? Like, realistically, most of the guys that say that, like, I'm not even attacking you, let's just be real, you've maybe approached 1, 2, 3 women in your life. Maybe. That's probably being generous. I think it's like 60 or 70% of men that are in like the Gen Z age gap now haven't even approached a woman before in like the last year, or maybe it's in their lifetime. Like, it's crazy. I'm just submitting the idea to you that even though I do teach Christ-focused self-improvement, right, and we talk about improving our lives and leveling ourselves up in all these different areas, from spiritual growth to mental growth to building discipline to building businesses and making more money, like all of these things, and I think they're drastically important even for your dating life. But at the end of the day, bro, if you want to actually meet somebody, you just have to go out and actually do it. Because at the end of the day, you are going to need some type of level of game. And even if that game is literally just having social skills, you're going to need something in order to be able to talk to women. And it's not something you have to do in a degenerate way. I'm telling you, like, stay on your Christ-focused self-improvement. Prioritize God. Go up and ask women. If you see a woman that you genuinely find attractive, hi, I think you're beautiful. And if it goes well, if they reciprocate well, get their Instagram, get their number, go on a date, talk about God, see how they react. If they react well, keep dating them, and let it be known that you have pure intentions, that you're looking to date for marriage. And it might not work for a while, right? You're gonna get rejected at least a few times, it's fine. There's no dude on the face of the planet who has not been rejected before. But it's like this, right? If you're looking for that, what do they call it, a Proverbs 31 woman? If you're looking for that godly woman, you only have to find one. That's it. You only have to find one, and then you can have your dream relationship. But that's all I really got. But Christ-focused self-improvement is what I teach. Down in the description below, we have a free community for young Christians. We're coming up on 4,000 members, so come join us. There's even a guide inside on how to quit pornography. I have free Bible study recordings in there, a whole bunch of stuff. I'm trying to upload on YouTube every single day, so subscribe for more, like this video. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.